And good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. Today is Friday, April 11th. I'm your host, Josh Engel. Today, my guest on this morning's program is organist with Community First United Methodist, Tony Childers, as well as Professor Emeritus from the University of West Georgia and organist at First United Methodist Church in Noonan, Don McCord, as we chat about the upcoming, it's the fourth annual Way of the Cross, a multi-church worship gathering, meditations, music, and visual art for reflections on Christ's sacrifice. And that is coming up on March 24th. Yes.
This Sunday.
No, it's not March 24th.
Yeah,
it's April 13th. That's last year.
I was just thinking.
No.
It's on April 13th.
Yeah, that's last year's.
I said it, and as soon as I did, I'm like, look, I know I'm bad with dates.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think March already passed. Yeah, April 13th. Let me write that down. That is my fault, listeners. April 13th, and it's going to be at 3 p.m.?
At the Tabernacle
Baptist Church. Excellent. Well, let me mark all that out. So we're going to we'll get you some. There we go. It is Sunday, April 13th at 3 p.m. at Tabernacle Baptist Church. This is going to be a knockout event every year. We get feedback, and every year it just gets bigger, better, more folks in attendance, and it's a very cathartic, beautiful service. I mean, it's a great culmination of a bunch of different churches coming together. Why don't we ask, I'd love to know a bit more about our guests, so listeners at home who may not have tuned into one of our former programs can learn a bit about you. Tony, tell us a bit about yourself and your position with the church.
Tony Childers, a retired educator here in Carroll County, and I've been affiliated with church music for many, many years, going on 36 years here in Carrollton, most recently with Community First United Methodist Church, a new congregation that formed just a year ago. And like I said, I'm the organist there, work with the choirs and the pastor for planning worship and other things as assigned. That's his favorite line, by the way.
Other things as assigned.
Yes.
Whatever we got.
Whatever it is.
Well, tell me. I don't know if I've actually asked you this before, but for my own curiosity, what got you into the organ? Like, what? When did you first start? Did you start learning piano, like taking piano lessons, or did you start on the organ? I'd love to know more about that.
Well, I'll give you a brief and concise history. I started piano lessons when I was 6 years old. I was asked to play the little organ we had at our church when I was 10. I had my first paying organist position when I was 16, and then I studied organ at Stetson University and Valdosta State College as I was working on my undergraduate degree in chemistry.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, I mean, it takes a strong mind to play the organ. I mean, to see all the different layers, different tempos going on at one time, it would track. That you're there you go. Look, he can do that. There you go. And a quick reminder, thank you for doing that. If you want to see what Tony just did, the very, very funny gesture he just did, be sure to jump onto the WLBB News Talk 1330 live stream on our on the Facebook page. Hop in the chat if you have any questions or comments for our guest. And, of course, feel free to share the video to spread the word about the Way of the Cross gathering coming up on April 13th. All right, let's throw it over to the legendary Don McCord.
Legendary.
Don.
That's really funny. So I retired from the University of West Georgia music program, and I'm currently organist at Noonan First United Methodist Church, as you've already said, and I've also done a lot of substituting at different churches around here. Sometimes I was president of a state music organization, and so I quit at the Presbyterian church and then substituted. And so I've been at the Lutheran church. I played at a bunch of places. So I love the community and the different worship services and the expressions of faith. And so this program, it kind of draws on that. And Tony, I think I can fairly say that he appreciates and looks forward to the community gathering of the different expressions of the Christian faith.
It's wonderful. So, well, when did you get into organ?
Piano is generally the first entry point for almost everybody because you have to learn the keyboard and all of that. And I needed to change gears in high school, and so in Jacksonville, Florida, and we both have a Jacksonville, Florida background there too, would take a couple of bus exchanges to study at the Jewish Tabernacle and at the Baptist Church as well. So, and then it just kept growing, from till I got my doctorate, and I continued in every degree program with my organ studies, but music education is my main focus.
Well, I'm still holding out for the dueling organ performance. I'm waiting for you guys to have two
there
organs.
are some, you know what? We should do that one, except this is not a performance-oriented thing, but there are some really, really nice eight-hand, thank you. I got to do my math. Okay,
Four
he's
hands,
the chemistry
four
person.
hands and 4 feet. That's
there
where
you
your
go.
eight
That's
comes
where I'm
from.
going.
Yeah.
Okay. Some wonderful pieces that are being written for contemporary organ. And when I use contemporary, I'm just talking about
Modern
time.
day.
Calendar.
Sure.
The calendar issue. And we could do that.
That'd be cool.
I'm afraid might draw too much attention to.
That would be a special event in a different
Yeah,
I
we keep
think we
that
need to
separate
do
from
that.
Way of the
But-
Cross.
I will add to that the 4 hands, 4 feet is sometimes called octopus music.
Yeah.
And my wife and I have done the 4 hands, 4 feet organ music before.
Whoa.
And it's quite fun. You have to choreograph every step of it.
Well, you're
But
gonna have to
that's a
upload a
different-
video someday.
Yeah, okay. That's a different program for a different day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But today we're talking about Way of the Cross, and this is
Right.
the 4th year. So let's talk a bit about the event. I mean, whoever would like to take this, Tony, if you'd like to speak a bit to the history, and of course Dawn, a bit about how this originally came together and how it's gone this far.
Yeah, I'll jump in and take the lead on that. I got a phone call or a text message, I think it was about October 5 years ago, from Dawn, and she wanted to get together. She had an idea, and she wanted to get together, and then she shared a little snippet of her idea with me, so it was enough to intrigue me, and so Cheryl and I went and met with Dawn at a restaurant and enjoyed I can't remember if it was lunch or breakfast, that's irrelevant, but Dawn shared the details of her idea of using poetry that she was inspired by because she had listened to an organist who improvised with this poetry as the lead, and it was the Stations of the Cross service. Now, with that, I'm going to push it in her lap and let her tell about why that was important to her and why she wanted to try to do something like that.
Well, first of all, it was an organist that is phenomenal. He's passed away, but he was a master improviser, making up the music as he went along based on chants and all of that. And I heard it on the radio, and I couldn't get it out of my mind. I thought, man, I wish I could do that. And, I'm thinking, but I am not at that level for sure. Not too many people are at DuPre's level. And I couldn't get it off my brain. And so I thought, well, we could adapt that. We've got great organists, great churches, some fine organs. We could pull this off. And so I kept thinking about it and using the poetry that was originally in French, but it's been translated a number of times, and it is the story of the Passion, which is from the arrest of Jesus all the way to the crucifixion, so not including the resurrection. And it's a great time. I'll turn it back to you to tell how it kind of happens if you were to go, and I hope everybody will. It'd be wonderful. It's in a great room.
All right, so from her idea, we developed a service that still centers on the poetry by Paul Claudel, and that poetry is deeply emotional, very moving, and it really is the center point of the program that we're doing. The organ music and the visual art are presented in a way to help the participant hear and see and to be moved emotionally through those words and through the art and through the music. But the centerpiece is still that poetry.
That multimedia quality of this experience. I mean, folks attend, music concerts, folks attend art installations, folks attend public poetry readings. But imagine if all of those were mixed together with, as to the congregations who attend, same for them. Everyone's mixed together, and all of this it creates a very multifaceted experience, which clearly has a big impact, because we'll talk to people afterwards, and it's they're very moved. It's a very, very moving experience. Time is 8:41. We're going to go ahead and knock out our first commercial break. But when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Tony Childers, organist at Community First United Methodist Church, and Dawn McCord, professor emeritus from the University of West Georgia and organist at First United Methodist Church in Noonan, as we discuss the upcoming Way of the Cross multi-church worship gathering, meditations, music, and visual arts for reflections on Christ's sacrifice. And that will be at Tabernacle Baptist Church Sunday, April 13th, just a few days away at 3 p.m. Don't miss it. Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating over 61 years. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us on the mountain to see our mission and vision in action. Academic excellence, a faith-based environment, and dynamic opportunities are just a few of the reasons our families choose Oak Mountain Academy. Academic scholarships and tuition assistance are available. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop. Seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
And we're back to Community Voice, brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy. I'm your host, Josh Engel. Today's Friday, April 11th, and we are pleased to be chatting about the Way of the Cross multi-church worship gathering coming up at Tabernacle Baptist Church on Sunday, April 13th, just a few days away at 3 p.m. It's the fourth year of this experience, and it just gets bigger and better each year. We're joined this morning again by Tony Childers, organist at Community First United Methodist, and Dawn McCord, professor emeritus from the University of West Georgia, as well as organist at First United Methodist Church in Noonan. If you're just tuning in, be sure to check out the full podcast of this episode, which we'll upload to this station's website, as well as gradicommunications.com, and of course the Facebook live stream on our News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. You can hop in and drop some questions or comments for our guests, of which we already have a few. So I'm going to read these out from Mimi Gentry, who was unable to join us this morning. Good morning! Exclamation point. I can't wait to experience the moving service on Sunday. We also have David Weiner. He says, wow, with a heart eyes and praying hands. And then Scott McClure wrote, Eddie Holsey, the judge in Tallapoosa, is a very accomplished organ player. I don't have the coordination with my feet to be able to do that. Thank you guys for what you do. I mean, we should send him a video of that octopus music we're talking about. All four hands, yes. Everybody's playing it. So if we could, we actually have a piece of art here, and I think this is actually one of the pieces of art here on this iPad that will be displayed. This is accompanying art that will accompany the poetry that we were discussing a bit ago. So I think that Joel's had a chance to kind of get that on the camera.
Yes, I wanted to give a highlight to the multimedia aspect by showing one of the art pieces that goes with the second station, Jesus is made to bear the cross. And after the reading, which concludes with these words, give me the patience then to bear the cross you want me to. You had to bear the cross before the cross could bear us too. And so the artwork will be up as the reader reads that entire passage, and then I'll play a selection based on the spiritual tune Lonesome Valley. Jesus walked this lonesome valley, is part of the text of that, to help people reflect on the words that we just read and add to the depth of the overall experience.
Wow. And that's great. So listeners at home have been able to see it. Thank you, Joel, for capturing that image there on the camera. This is a multimedia experience. I think that's a great way to launch back into the second segment, because we left off there at the tail end of the first segment, kind of putting together not only how all this originally came together, but how the experience took shape, where the inspiration was from. So why don't we just start back a bit at the beginning for folks who may have tuned in a bit late. What is Way of the Cross?
Okay, so it's built on the Stations of the Cross that some churches observe, and they're iconic images, I guess that's redundant, of the different points from the arrest to the crucifixion that's used in worship or recognition of the Passion story, which is what the resurrection's all about. And so, if you walk into this event and sit there, we ask that people not applaud, that it's a time for them to be reflective, and they will come in and they'll see one image. They'll hear the poem by some great readers. We have different readers each year, and we've got some local artists this year, and then some music that is based on that theme that's there. And then we'll go to the second one. And it's generally about an hour and 15 minutes. I think the longest one we've had is an hour and 15 minutes so far. It's kind of hard when you've got so many musicians, to contain them in time.
Yeah.
But so far it's worked pretty well. And then we just go to the next one and the next one and ask people just to let their hearts and minds go wherever they're led to. And the first year, we actually had to kick people out of the church because we asked people to leave quietly, and when they were ready, they could stay afterwards, and it was that moving. And so I can't remember, I think there was a student recital going to take place in there.
Later that evening, yes.
And so finally I had to say, y'all have to leave.
You guys gotta go.
So, and they just sat there in silence. It
Speaks to
moving.
it speaks to the catharsis they're experiencing. I
Yeah.
mean, this is, I think people, they hear this, they hear about the multiple musicians, and it's great to remind them, this isn't a showcase of talent,
Right.
although it will be, incidentally.
Exactly.
But the key purpose is to have this culmination, this coming together of all these different congregations to reflect on that sacrifice. Yeah. Could we speak a bit on which churches are participating, all at the chapel at Tabernacle?
Yes. First of all, let me give a big thank you to the folks at Tabernacle Baptist Church.
Oh, yes.
And James Kimmel in particular for hosting our program this year. They were fortunate to install a new organ in their chapel last year, and we'll be taking advantage of that new organ. And James Kimmel and Charlene Wiggins from Tabernacle Baptist will be playing in the program along with Dawn and me. Now, they had to put in some time and effort to get ready for this, and we appreciate very much the work that they have done to help accommodate the needs that we have for this program. Technology needs, organ, the room, all of that.
Yeah, Adam Tucker is running the technology and doing a great job.
Yeah, so their folks have been really phenomenal in all of that.
Excellent.
And so those are the churches that are represented this year in the service.
Well, we have Presbyterians
Yeah,
too,
okay.
and Mimi's been very involved in this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mimi.
Yeah, we know she's listening.
Oh, yeah.
And so we have a student from the University of West Georgia that's doing the foray Pie Jesu after one of the stations. And it was beautiful, and it works perfect for that particular one. I do fear, without scrolling through and checking the names, that I would leave people out.
Well, another of the soloists that'll sing is Denise Brown
Right.
also from our church, but she also has the distinction of being our pastor's wife.
Oh, wow, yeah.
We're looking forward to hearing from her, too.
So these are persons from a variety of faiths,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
a variety of denominations, all of whom have the same desire to reflect in quite an artistic and engaging way on the sacrifice which Christ made.
And all with a local connection as
Absolutely.
well.
And shout out to Tabernacle for housing this and
Yes.
facilitating this. It's going to be a great, an excellent event. So we spoke a bit about it earlier, but why? Mimi Gentry says, I'm always watching. I love that. Shout out to Mimi. Hope you feel better, by the way. So we touched on it a bit earlier, but why did you choose this poem? And speak a bit about the poem.
Well, as I mentioned before already, that I was very moved by the poem, and couldn't get it out of my mind. And we keep playing with different ideas. Again, to say this time we're actually using local art. We have 3 artists that are well known in the community that will be that painted works that directly relate to that. And it doesn't mean that we won't the music and art be different every year. And maybe the poems will be, but after we hear the reading by the readers that do such a good job, people are still moved by it, because it's about the passion story, but it's about the people and where are you in the story? And I think that's something we sometimes miss in that.
I agree with what you said about the poetry. I think there's another layer to it in developing this program and coming back year to year. The program reflects some of the liturgical services that occur in several denominations. The Catholics have a service for the Stations of the Cross, the Episcopalians, the Lutherans, and other churches recognize that. But keeping our focus on the poetry helps us to kind of break down some of the denominational barriers and be more ecumenical with this program.
It's a $4 word right there. It's ecumenical. I love that word. That's tremendous. Yeah, you count the syllables.
Five syllables.
5 syllables. That's what's up. You win today.
Well, I'll have to let Wes Maston know. I give him a quarter every Sunday for the big words he uses.
Absolutely. Yeah, you get the complimentary cup for achieving that thing. So now, as far as the stations, we're checking in different. I guess how could I say it? Different elements of the Passion story. I mean, as far as the first station, does it the poetry and the music and the images, does it pick up with his arrest in the public park, or does it pick up
Pontius Pilate?
Pontius Pilate.
Yeah,
okay.
That story.
So it picks up with Pontius. Wow.
Yeah, it starts with Pontius Pilate, and it goes through. I think a lot of people don't focus on some of these particular elements depending on the church and all. Like Jesus actually, he carried the cross. I think you'll always find that in churches. But he fell 3 times, and there were people that engaged with Jesus on the road to the crucifixion itself. And so it highlights that. And so it's all those stages of there and remembering that. And the one thing that everybody that's there from whatever, I know my friends at the Lutheran Church, some of them will be there, and a number of churches. But all of us do big stuff on Easter Sunday. It doesn't matter what denomination. Easter Sunday, big time, and we can, it's easy to do that because it is joyful and exciting, and it's more painful to look at where we are in the story.
Yeah.
And this poem really touches on that.
I think it serves as a good reminder that without the Passion, we wouldn't be able to celebrate the resurrection on Easter.
Yeah. Time is 8:54. We're going to go ahead and knock out our last commercial break, but when we come back, we'll wrap up our conversation with organist at Community First United Methodist Church, Tony Childers, and Dawn McCord, Professor Emeritus from the University of West Georgia, and organist at First United Methodist Church in Noonan, as we discuss the Way of the Cross, a multi-church worship gathering coming up this Sunday at 3 p.m. at Tabernacle Baptist Church. Meditations, music, and visual art for reflections on Christ's sacrifice. Don't miss it. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health System and Oak Mountain Academy.
The AP Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined advanced placement curriculum track to earn a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically prepared students to pursue college-level studies throughout 17 AP courses in 5 subject categories while enrolled at OMA. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Consider the Mobius strip. Take a strip of paper, twist it, connect the ends. This connection forms a continuous loop. Seamless, infinite. That's how your healthcare should be too. At Tanner Health, the Mobius is our symbol and our promise, representing our continuum of care and our commitment that the services you need will be here for you always. We're not just changing healthcare, we're redefining it. See more at tanner.org.
And we're back to Community Voice, Friday, April 11th. We're about to wrap up our conversation here with Tony Childers and Dawn McCord as we discuss the Way of the Cross multi-church worship gathering. Again, be sure to share the podcast or the live stream of this morning's program, which was on our WLBB News Talk 1330 Facebook page, to spread the good word about the Way of the Cross, this multi-church worship gathering. And Tony here has another piece of art pulled up. The sixth station, which is Veronica Wipes the Face of Jesus, in the about 3 minutes we have left. Please let us know a bit about the artists that can be at this event.
Well, this piece of art is done by local artist Bruce Bobick, who's been in the culture of Carrollton for many, many years.
And international.
Yes, international as well. And he painted this specifically for our presentation this year.
Wow.
Bruce assisted us last year with putting all of the artwork together and serving as the coordinator for all of the art that was selected last year. And we're glad to have him on board with us to share his art with us again this year. We highlighted a piece a minute ago by Mary Daum. And who was the other one?
Alicia Rainwater.
Alicia Rainwater has some work that's included in our presentation.
And these are local artists.
Yes.
Wow. So
And ideally, we would love next year to have even more. Some of the art's well known and goes back, what? How many years?
There are some-
1400?
Yes, 1500. I saw just a moment ago one from 1500.
Yeah, okay. So they go back a lot. And great pieces. Not trying to diss those old guys. They're dead, though.
Oh, sure.
You know. So
Absolutely.
anyway,
but amazing talent. But it's amazing artists. And, they're not with us anymore, but their art lives on.
It definitely.
And truly, this
It
is
is
an
eternal.
awesome experience to get to, as is the message of sacrifice, with the story of the Passion. And this is an opportunity, again, to see this powerful art, powerful music, powerful poetry. This is the fourth year for the Way of the Cross event, but it's only going to get bigger and better each year, so don't miss out. We're out of time here, but this is the Way of the Cross, a multi-church worship gathering, meditations, music, and visual art for reflections on Christ's sacrifice. That's this Sunday at 3 p.m. Is there a specific website or Facebook people could learn more?
Maybe yours?
I can post some details on my Facebook page.
Sure. Or they might could check the, I'm not sure if Community First United Methodist may have posted something, but if you
Just
go
the
on Facebook and
announcement.
check out Way of the Cross, you'll be able to see it. And again, no ticket
Just
price.
check out WLBB's.
Yeah, check us out.
Right, that's the only one I can think of because we can't live stream this service.
Sure.
But, we'll look for ways to get the word out.
Awesome. Tony, Dawn, thank you both
Thank
for
you.
taking the time to come in. And for everyone who commented on the live stream and tuned in this morning, we'll see you next week.